There's a lot of talk about vaccines at the moment. Obviously, it's the easiest way for us to get our lives back to normal after this COVID chaos. But there's also a lot of misinformation out there. And our team at Tomorrow Today Global has been working hard to try and bring some clarity to some of these issues, and especially this issue of vaccines. We're not medical experts, but we are strategy planners and scenario planners, and we help people just like you to make sense of disruption. And so let's talk briefly about vaccines. About a week ago, I put out a fairly lengthy video on mRNA vaccines. That's the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines and how that works. If you haven't seen that video, go and have a look at it. I want to talk in this video about AstraZeneca, Johnson Johnson, and many of the other vaccines that are heading towards final approval, because they are more conventional vaccines and they work in slightly different ways to the mRNA vaccines. Vaccines are kind of like riding a bicycle. I don't know about you, when you learned to ride a bicycle. I did it when I was about 6 or 7 years old, but I can't remember the process. I mean, I know that my father was involved. I have a vague picture of the bicycle that my parents bought me, way too big for me because they were expecting me to start having a few growth spurts, and they didn't want to buy a new bike every time I got a little bit older. So it was a difficult bike to ride. But to be honest, as I've thought about this, I can't remember all of the process. I remember once riding into a rose bush. I must have done that a few times. And I remember, and this is the memory most of us I think will have, I remember the first time it worked. I remember riding and then realizing there was no hand, there was no father's hand running next to me holding the saddle. I was doing it on my own. And I remember that feeling of exhilaration. I remember the feeling of realizing, I've got it. I can do this now. And the remarkable thing is that that was over 40 years ago, and I don't ride bicycles regularly now. It's not my favorite form of exercise. I'm a runner and go to gym, but I don't get on the bikes. But when I do get on a bicycle, and any other time in my life when I've got on a bicycle, the memory of riding it has been there. I haven't had to learn it again, and it just clicks in. They say you never forget. That's kind of like what a vaccine does. A vaccine is designed to give our body a memory of fighting a disease. Your immune system is the part of your body, the part of your system that is designed to fight anything that's not supposed to be in your system. Every single cell of your body has got a blueprint for your body. It's the plans to rebuild your body. Your body gets rebuilt all the time as your cells separate and regenerate. They take that blueprint and they recreate you so that your skin looks the same, the little spots and dots on your skin are the same, your hair comes out the same color all the time, your eyes stay the same color, you stay the same height once you've finished growing, etc., etc. There's a blueprint in every cell of your body. That's your DNA. When something enters your body that isn't part of the blueprint, that is something that your body doesn't recognize, your body is designed to fight it. Now, if this thing that comes into your body that's not supposed to be there has never been seen before by your body has got to work out what it is. It's got to work out what weapons it should use to fight this invader off. And it can take a little bit of time to work that out. And if it takes too long to work it out, this foreign invader can multiply inside your body before your body works out how to deal with it and contain it. And that's what a disease is. If something comes into your body and your body knows how to deal with it, your body immediately starts to produce all of the various chemicals and proteins and whatever it is your body does to fight off the invader. If your body's got the instructions already, it starts immediately to fight it, and it can contain the disease and exit it from your system. So kind of like riding a bicycle, our body needs to learn how to fight various diseases. And some of the most common diseases that we have in the world, your body learns how to fight them. That's why when children go to school for the first time, they get more sick than they have in their lives, and they bring those sicknesses home. I mean, age 3, 4, 5, our children are getting sick all the time, and that's because their bodies are learning how to ride a bicycle. Their bodies are learning how to fight the diseases. As an older person, we've got to do that in slightly different ways. And vaccines are a way to do it with some of the bigger diseases. And so what happens is we need to create, through the medical doctors, create a vaccine. A vaccine is basically the easy way to describe it is it's a small dose of the disease, but that's inaccurate because you don't get given the disease. That's a very old school vaccine. The new vaccines, the AstraZeneca and Johnson Johnson COVID vaccine is one of these new vaccines. What they do is they take the DNA from a disease that your body is very confident in dealing with. For AstraZeneca and Johnson Johnson, they've used the common cold. Almost all of us get colds regularly, and almost all of us deal with those colds fairly effectively. They then dilute that down, right? And what they do is they then insert some of the proteins from the COVID virus, not the COVID virus itself, because the wonderful thing about the COVID virus is that it is covered in those little spikes. I'm sure you've seen it. Here we go. There's a COVID virus with the spikes all around it. And those spikes are made up of proteins. That's how the COVID virus tricks its way into your cells and can cause a lot of damage, because those proteins are able to get into your cell. So what we do is we take something like the common cold. I'm not a medical expert, so I'm dumbing this down for me and for you. But we take something like the common cold DNA, dilute it even further so it wouldn't really cause any problems in you. Then we add these proteins from the COVID spike. So not COVID itself. Nobody's going to give you COVID. They're just going to put these proteins into that and then put it in your system. Now, your body recognizes this as a foreign invader. It sees those proteins. It sees the common cold. It says, I know how to deal with the common cold. These proteins I haven't dealt with before. It then starts to work out how to fight those proteins, and it learns how to ride a bicycle. It takes a little while. It might drive into a rose bush here or there. And so some people who get the vaccine feel a little bit poorly for a day or two. Some people who have allergies can get an allergic reaction to the virus because your body is responding. However your body normally responds to things like a cold or flu, that's how your body will respond. But in a very small dose. And within a day or two, your body's learned how to ride this bicycle. Your body has learned the instructions of how to deal not with COVID, because you haven't been given COVID with this vaccine. What you've been given is some of the things that come with COVID. Now your body knows how to deal with them, and it remembers those instructions. Now, sadly, it doesn't remember them forever. And part of what we have to work out is how long our memory, that's your immunity, how long your immunity lasts. It normally lasts for about a year or so in your body, and then you've got to do it again. But every time you do it, your body retains a little bit more of that knowledge. But it's kind of like riding a bicycle. Once your body knows how to deal with this particular foreign invader, it can deal with it every time that invader gets in your system. So whether it's the mRNA, the messenger RNA approach that Pfizer or Moderna take, that I talked about in the last video, which is just remarkable science, or whether it's a more traditional way of doing vaccines, although updated with modern science, like Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca and some of the others. All of these vaccines are entirely safe. This is how our body works. We're not doing something that is unnatural or not part of the normal way our body works. This is how our body works. All we're doing is stimulating it to focus its attention on the proteins that cover the COVID virus, so that when COVID comes into your system, your body knows how to deal with it and doesn't have to take a few days to learn how to deal with it, which would then be too late. So I am going to get whichever vaccine is available to me as soon as I possibly can. And we need at least 70% of the world's population to do that in order to stop this COVID crisis. I hope this video has been helpful to you. I hope it allays some of your fears about vaccines, and I hope that you will join me in getting the vaccine as soon as we possibly can.